press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, in the last class we discussed about the hydrogen, its similarity with the alkali metals as well as halogens. In the similar way we discussed about the dissimilarities of hydrogen with alkali metals and halogens. Along with that we discussed about the methods of preparations of that is hydrogen, and that we discussed about the laboratory method of preparation of hydrogen. Let us start with the next concepts, that is nothing but that is about the industrial method, or you can say commercial methods of preparation. Commercial methods of preparations. So as you know that hydrogen is a very important element, so which is required in large quantities. So the laboratory methods are not enough to produce the hydrogen required by the that is nothing but the different fields, or you can say different applications. Okay, so now commercial means in large quantities how the hydrogen can be produced. Okay, so that by it can be supplied to the requirements, or you can say it is supplied to the needs, or to satisfy the needs of the hydrogen. Okay, so here in that let us discuss the first one, that is nothing but by electrolysis of acidified water. This is very important here, because you know that pure water, or you can say the distilled water, is a bad conductor of electricity, or it does not conduct electricity. So that's why the water should be acidified. So for that purpose we can use the dilute sulfuric acid. Okay, so that because of the presence of those it increases the conductivity of water. So if water is electrolyzed, what are the products you are going to get? Say for example H2O, if it is electrolyzed, if it is subjected to electrolysis, so the products will be H plus OH minus, a proton and an hydroxyl ion. What we call this for this one? It is a proton and an hydroxyl ion you are going to get. You know about electrolysis. So then what should happen? So the positively charged ion will go to the cathodes, which is negatively charged, and the negatively charged ion will go towards the anode and get discharged, or it loses its charge. Okay, so then how we can write? At cathode this H plus, by accepting one electron from the cathode, get discharged to hydrogen. Okay, so now if one more hydrogen is there, those hydrogens will combine together, leads to the formation of the dihydrogen, will be get discharged. Similarly, if you take about that is anodic reaction, so what remains in the reaction mixture? So that is OH minus, hydroxyl ion. If I take this one as 4 OH minus, then 4 electrons, so here it is having a negative charge, that means to say it should lose the electron. So it will become 4 OH plus 4 electron. 4 OH plus 4 electron. So it will become what? Now 4 OH gives rise to 2 H2O plus O2. What will be get discharged here? O2. These are the products what we are going to get during the electrolysis of what? Water. Okay, so you are going to get what? H plus and OH minus. This is the electrolyte. Usually if you write what will be the product, H2O gives rise to H2 plus O2. H2 plus O2. So this hydrogen will be discharged at cathode and O2 will be discharged at the anode, because O2 is from hydroxyl ions. Is that clear? So this is very important reaction, that is the electrolysis of acidified water. In the first step you have to write the overall reaction. Water electrolyzed to form H plus and OH minus ion. The H plus will go to the cathode and it gets discharged into hydrogen gas. Similarly, hydroxyl ion will move towards the anode and get discharged into water and oxygen. Which gas is discharged here? Oxygen. That is very important. During the electrolysis, at cathode, hydrogen will be get discharged. At anode, oxygen will be get discharged. So what you got the product? That is nothing but dihydrogen. So we are preparing the dihydrogen commercially. In large quantities, you are going to get the hydrogen. And one more important point you should remember, as I said, during this electrolysis, you have to add traces of acid or base, because they are the what? Strong electrolytes. Acids or bases are strong electrolytes. They conduct the electricity. So then if you use sulfuric acid, along with sulfuric acid means it consists of H plus and SO4 minus, hydrogen as well as sulfate. So those hydrogen ion will increase the concentration of this hydrogen. What about the sulfate? That is also present in the reaction mixture. SO4 2 minus is also present in the reaction mixture. From where it comes? It comes from the what? Sulfuric acid. If you added in traces just to increase the conductivity, just to increase the electrolysis of this water. So what happens to that? Because of its high discharge potential, it will not get discharged. So otherwise, if the discharge potential is low, means in place of OH, what will be there? Sulfate. So what happens to this is the note. Make a note of this. Because of its high discharge potential, it will not be get discharged. So what will be discharged at anode? That is nothing but the oxygen, that is from hydroxyl ions. This is the first method where we can see the production, or you can say the preparation of hydrogen in commercial level. So next, if you move on to the second method, so this dihydrogen can be obtained as a byproduct during the manufacture of sodium hydroxide from aqueous solution of brine. What is this brine? Brine is nothing but saturated solution of sodium chloride, that you are going to be discussed in case of S block elements. Saturated solution of sodium chloride is called as brine. If you take that brine and if you dissolve in water, so that solution is called as aqueous solution of brine. So during the preparation, or you can say manufacture of sodium hydroxide using what? Aqueous solution of brine. So major product is sodium hydroxide. You are preparing sodium hydroxide. But during this, along with the sodium hydroxide, you are also going to get dihydrogen. That what you consider that one as byproduct. Main product is sodium hydroxide. Byproduct is our dihydrogen. Let us see the reaction. Okay. So in the book they have given as ionic forms. So 2Na plus, because we are preparing from brine. 2Cl minus NaCl. This is 2NaCl plus 2H2O, that is nothing but the water. Okay, so it is aqueous, it is a liquid water. So what are the products you are going to get upon electrolysis? What are the products you are going to get? 2Na plus 2OH minus plus Cl2 plus H2. These are the products you are going to get. Look at the byproduct, which is a major product here. 2Na plus 2OH minus means this is 2NaOH. It is our product. That is nothing but the dihydrogen. You can write this reaction like this also. 2NaCl plus 2H2O upon electrolysis it forms 2NaOH plus Cl2 plus H2, our desired product, that is nothing but the hydrogen. Okay na? So during the preparation of sodium hydroxide using brine, you are going to get hydrogen as a byproduct. That is another method of the preparation of dihydrogen commercially. So one more important method is there. So that is there you are going to get this dihydrogen by the reaction of or by the reaction between steam and hydrocarbons. Steam and hydrocarbons. Or you can have coke, hydrocarbons or coke or coal. Okay, simply if I write for hydrocarbons, when hydrocarbons are heated with steam at high temperature, that is nearly 1270 Kelvin, so the products will be carbon monoxide and dihydrogen. Carbon monoxide and dihydrogen. Let us check whether it has been balanced or not. CO, okay. 2 2s are 4. Here it is 2 2s are 4. 2O, it is O. Okay, so to balance that one, if I take only H2O, it will become, yes, now it is balanced. It will be 4, it is 2 means 6. I can make this one as 3H2. Okay now, yes, here you can see that when the methane, that is nothing but an hydrocarbon, when it is heated with steam or when steam is passed upon this hydrocarbon, it will be converted into a mixture of carbon monoxide and dihydrogen. This is very, very important 1 mark question here. So here it is called as, this mixture is called as water gas. This mixture is called as water gas. What is water gas? If the question comes, how to answer? CO plus H2. Simply you can write. No need to by heart this ratio and all. Depends on the reaction, right? So mixture of carbon monoxide and dihydrogen is called as water gas. When you are going to get, when hydrocarbons are made to react with the water at a very high temperature. That is a reaction. Okay, so this is one more method. And also you can prepare this dihydrogen. Understood these reactions? Yes, you have to learn these reactions. They are very, very important. Okay, so if you move on to the one more very important theoretical as well as the MCQ question, that is nothing but preparation of dihydrogen by coal gasification. You may get 2 or 3 marks questions out of this concept. Very, very important this is. So preparation of dihydrogen by coal gasification. It is almost similar to the last one what we have discussed. So here, as I said, water gas. So water gas, it is also called as synthesis gas. Simply we can call this one as syngas also. Syngas. Okay, syngas means synthesis gas. Why water gas is called as syngas or synthesis gas? Because it is used for the preparation of many other important hydrocarbons as well as some organic compounds. This mixture is there now, CO plus 3H2. Later on you are going to see in the properties and all that by combination of these two you can prepare many organic compounds like alcohols and other hydrocarbons. So it is called as synthesis. It is used in the synthesis of many other organic compounds like alcohol as well as other hydrocarbons. So water gas is also called as synthesis gas. The question may come, what is synthesis gas? What is syngas? What is water gas? All are the same. What is the answer? Mixture of carbon monoxide and dihydrogen. Simply you can write CO plus H2 is called water gas, or you can say that one as synthesis gas or syngas, right? So now what is coal gasification? It is the process of preparation of syngas, simply I will take syngas, using or from coal is called coal gasification. In the name itself, coal gasification. The process of preparation of syngas from coal is called as coal gasification. Very simple it is. And this coal gas nowadays not only can be prepared by the reaction of steam on the hydrocarbons, but also on the coal, on the coke, and this syngas can also be prepared from the sawdust. Then scrap wood also can be used, newspaper can also be used, sewage water can also be used for the preparation of the syngas. So many sources are there. So we are going to get the dihydrogen in large quantity because of the availability of this syngas. Syngas can be prepared from various sources like the sawdust, scrap wood, newspaper, sewage. Okay, so that is. So let me write the reaction. So here, when steam is passed on the coal or coke, the solid state, steam means how to represent H2O, it is gaseous, that means to indicate it is a steam at a temperature of 1270 Kelvin in the presence of a catalyst. You know the catalyst? Catalyst is a chemical substance which increases the rate of the reaction. Okay, rate of the reaction means the time taken by the reactions to form the products. Okay, so it will form into a mixture of carbon monoxide and dihydrogen. Very simple, CO plus H2. It is a mixture of carbon monoxide and dihydrogen. What do you call for this mixture? This mixture is called as syngas or water gas, right? So now, in order to increase the percentage of this dihydrogen, because it is a commercial method, in order to increase the percentage of dihydrogen, what we can do? We can take that carbon monoxide from the reaction mixture and made to react with the that is steam again. Okay, made to react with the steam again in the presence of a catalyst. In the presence of a catalyst and temperature of 673 Kelvin, and catalyst, that is nothing but the iron chromate. Catalyst, iron chromate, FeCrO3 you can take. So that is iron chromate catalyst. If you extract that carbon monoxide from the reaction mixture, and if you made to react with the steam in the presence of these conditions, you are going to get carbon dioxide. That is CO plus O2. What will be left? It will be dihydrogen. You can get again dihydrogen from carbon monoxide. Very easy this is. So here you are shifting the carbon dioxide in the form carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide, right? For the production of dihydrogen, this reaction is called as water gas shift reaction. Water gas shift reaction. There is a shift of gas, water gas shift reaction. Which is the water gas shift reaction? You have to show this one. The carbon monoxide from the water gas is made to react with the steam in the presence of a temperature of 673 Kelvin and the catalyst iron chromate to form carbon dioxide and dihydrogen. The reaction is called as what? The reaction is called as water gas shift reaction. And this carbon dioxide can be removed from the reaction mixture by scraping with the sodium arsenate solution. If you made to react with that, the carbon dioxide will be eliminated. What will left? That is nothing but the dihydrogen. So understood? This is very important method of preparation. It may come in the, because this hydrogen chapter carry 4 marks. One will be the 1 marks question. Usually that is from the concept of water gas. Right? So then the remaining 3 marks may be from this concept. So that's why very simple it is. Only 2 reactions. and explanation, if you know, it is more than enough. So very simple, how to prepare, that is dihydrogen by coal gasification. The process of preparation of syngas from coal is called as coal gasification. In this reaction, when coke is made to react with the steam at a temperature of 1270 Kelvin and a catalyst, mixture of carbon monoxide and dihydrogen are obtained. So to increase the concentration of that, so what we can do, carbon monoxide is extracted and made to react with the steam at a temperature of 673 Kelvin and in the presence of catalyst to get carbon dioxide and dihydrogen. It is called as water gas shift reaction. Okay now, so these are the different methods what we are going to use for the preparation of what you can say dihydrogen in the laboratory. Dihydrogen in the laboratory. So let us discuss the next things. So that is nothing but the physical and chemical properties of dihydrogen. So you have to practice all these reactions because all are very important, especially the coal gasification method. Only 2 reactions were there, and what is the meaning of what is that water gas, or you can say what is the meaning of that is syngas, that is a mixture of carbon monoxide and dihydrogen is called as what? We call that one as a syngas or water gas. Okay, yes, let us discuss now the physical properties. Physical properties of hydrogen. Okay, so let us discuss one by one. The first one, hydrogen gas is colorless. It has no color, just like water. Colorless, then odorless and tasteless. These are the properties. This is about first property, physical property of hydrogen is that it is colorless, odorless and tasteless gas. Tasteless gas. The next property, if you move on, it is highly combustible. Highly combustible. Highly combustible. That means to say it catches the fire suddenly. There is a one more property of dihydrogen. Along with that, it is slightly soluble. It is slightly soluble. It is slightly soluble in water. It is slightly soluble in water. The last property what we can state here, so is that it is less dense than air. It is lighter than air also, you can make a note of that one. So these are the what? The physical properties of water. Very important again, to note down. So colorless, odorless and tasteless gas. Highly combustible means it catches fire. I explained in the that is the reaction of metal with the acids, right? Whenever a metal is dropped into the water, it suddenly react to form hydroxide. That is, you can have the example of sodium hydroxide, and the hydrogen gas liberated may catches the fire. So that is, it is highly combustible gas and it is slightly or insoluble in water and it is less dense than air. So these are the physical properties, and remaining physical properties about the different isotopes of hydrogen has been given in the textbook. Just go through the tabular column, no need to by heart. Just you observe, you can make out how the isotopes of hydrogen differ in their physical properties from one another. That is, I am talking about protium, deuterium and tritium. Last class we discussed. So they differ in their physical properties, but chemically all of them are same. They will involve in the same chemical reaction. That is the property of isotopes, right? So now here, if I take the next one, that is nothing but the chemical properties. Understood these physical properties? Yes. Had you note down? Okay. Okay. So if you move on to the chemical properties. Chemical properties of dihydrogen. Okay, dihydrogen. So chemical properties means, so what are the chemical reactions or what are the different elements with which our dihydrogen react. Okay, so under that, before going to the properties, you should know that it is not easy to conduct the reactions in case of this dihydrogen, or you can say the hydrogen will not easily involve in the chemical reaction. Suitable conditions are required. Why? Because the hydrogen, that is nothing but dihydrogen, H2, it is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms. You know this concept, right? So here these two are bonded by means of a hydrogen single bond, which is having very high bond dissociation enthalpy of 435 kilojoules per mole, just to break one single bond between the 2 hydrogen atoms which are present in case of a hydrogen molecule. How much energy is required? 435 kilojoules per mole of energy is required to break the bond. So that's why it will not easily involve in the chemical reactions. Oh, okay, so the bond dissociation, what is that concept? Bond dissociation energy. Bond dissociation energy. In short, we can use the term BDE, bond dissociation energy, for the hydrogen bond which is present in between the 2 hydrogen atoms in case of a hydrogen molecule is very high. So it not easily involved in a chemical reaction. So they have just given one example, or they have illustrated how this hydrogen is involved in the chemical reaction. See, nearly 0.08% of hydrogen involved in reaction at a temperature of 2000 Kelvin. The reactivity or the involvement of hydrogen out of 100%, how much? 0.08%. 0.08% approximate. This is approximately what we can say, approximately 0.08% of hydrogen will be involved in chemical reaction at temperature of 2000 Kelvin, not at a room temperature. Usually at room temperature, that is at 298 Kelvin, it remains inert. It will not involve in the hydro. Whatever you add, simply keep quiet. It will not involve in the chemical reaction because of high bond dissociation enthalpy. Are you getting the concept? Yes. So now, how much percent of hydrogen involved in a chemical reaction? 0.08. At what temperature? 2000 Kelvin. Okay. So similarly, if you increase the temperature, then it will involve in 95.5% of hydrogen involved in chemical reaction at a temperature of 5000 Kelvin. So what you can understand from this example? As the temperature increases, the dissociation of this hydrogen also increases, and the involvement of reaction of hydrogen in reaction also increases. That means to say, directly proportional to the energy or temperature supplying for the breaking of that hydrogen bond. Okay, higher the temperature, more will be the dissociation, more will be the involvement in the chemical reaction. That is the concept you should remember. So this is a story behind the chemical, the involvement of the dihydrogen in chemical reactions. Very simple concept this is. So at room temperature it remains inert, but at a temperature of 2000 Kelvin, 0.08% of dihydrogen involved in chemical reaction. At a temperature of 5000 Kelvin, 95.5% of dihydrogen involved in the chemical reaction. Okay now? So now, how it involved in a chemical reaction? You know about hydrogen. How many electrons are present in case of hydrogen? Only one. Hydrogen, only one. Its electronic configuration is 1. That is 1s1. Sorry, 1s1. Right? So it has only one electron. You know the meaning of chemical properties or chemical reactions. Involvement of electrons. Right? How many electrons are there? Only one electron. So then how it will involve in the chemical reaction? It can lose the electron to become what? H plus. By the loss of electron. Yes, some acceptor is there means it is electropositive. You know that. We discussed in the similarities. Yes, yes, come one element, I will donate you electron, form bond with me. That is a chemical reaction. So that is, it will become H plus. How? By the loss of electron. By the loss of electron. Or else it can share this electron. It can share this electron. Yes, what it will say, another element? Yes, element, come here. I am having one electron. Will you share your electron with me? Thereby we can form the bond. So it will form any of the compound, any compound. I cannot simply write here any compound. You can have HCl, you can have H2O, you can have H2SO4, so many. Okay, sorry, H2SO4 will not come. Covalent compounds you can take. And similarly, it can gain electron. If you gain the electron, it will become what? H minus, hydride ion. So these are the three ways in which hydrogen involved in a chemical reaction. Either it will lose the electron to become H plus, either it will gain the electron to become H minus, or it will share the electron to become any of the compound. This is the way of hydrogen to involve in the chemical reactions. Okay, so let us discuss what are those chemical properties. Chemical properties. The first one is reaction with. The first one is reaction with metals. Reaction with metals. Okay. Yes. If you take this dihydrogen, if it made to react with the dihydrogen, so it will form what? Metals. I will take metal as M. If it made to reacts with the dihydrogen, that is H2, what it will form? It will form metallic hydride, MH. Just to balance, I will write 2MH. What do you call for the product? It is called as metallic hydride. What it is called as? Metallic hydride. You can take any metal here. In place of M, I can write Na, I can write K, I can write Ca, etc. Whatever the metal you can have, you can take. Simply I will show you how. So when sodium is made to react with dihydrogen, it will form into sodium hydride, NaH. What is general representation? MH simply. What is the formula of this metallic hydrides? MH. Okay, so in place of M, which metal I have taken? Sodium. What you have to write? Sodium hydride. Similarly, you can have this one. Calcium plus dihydrogen gives rise to calcium hydride, CaH2. You know the name of this one? This is called as hydrolith. What do you call for this one? This is called as hydrolith. Right? It is used in the preparation of dihydrogen, right? The reverse of this reaction. If hydrolith is made to react with water, it will form calcium hydroxide and dihydrogen. Now I am using this in the preparation of what? Dihydrogen in the preparation of this hydrolith. That is the beauty of chemical reactions. Somewhere the reactions, the chemical properties will be the method of preparation, and the method of preparation will be the chemical properties, like that. Okay, only the thing is you have to recall where we have studied this one, like that. Okay, so now this is one more example. As it is monovalent, both should be in the same ratio. It is bivalent, that's why one calcium is enough to react with dihydrogen. Right? So that's why CaH2, hydrolith. Likewise, you can light for lithium, rubidium, cesium, francium, magnesium, whatever element, whatever metal. So that will react with the hydrogen to form the products. In general, what we can say? Metallic hydrides. Right? So likewise, you can have reaction with the nonmetals. Reaction with the nonmetals. Reaction with the nonmetals. Non-metals. Products are metallic hydride for this one. Okay, so in this I am going to take the first one as halogens. You know that halogens are non-metals. halogens. So how dihydrogen reacts with the halogens? That when dihydrogen is made to react with halogen, it will form into hydrogen halides, HX. What is the product? Hydrogen halides. Hydrogen halides. Okay, so you can have the example of, so what is that? So here X is nothing but it may be fluorine, it may be chlorine, it may be bromine, it may be iodine, whatever. If you are taken here chlorine, what will be the product? Hydrogen chloride, HCl, hydrochloric acid also you can call. Br, HBr. Fluorine, HF, hydrogen fluoride. Respective fluoride, halide, hydrogen halide. So that is, so and one more point you have to note down here that, so the reaction of dihydrogen is fluorine is so violent that it will react. Fluorine is highly reactive because of its small size, highly reactive. It is electronegative, right? Our hydrogen is electropositive. Suddenly they will react even in the dark also. Even in the dark also. No need to supply the sunlight. If you keep in a dark room and if you allow the hydrogen and fluorine to react, they will react to form hydrogen fluoride. That much violent this reaction between hydrogen and fluorine. If you go down, the reactivity decreases because the size, what we can say, electronegativity decreases. Fluorine is the most electronegative element, so it is highly reactive. But if you come chlorine, bromine, iodine is least reactive out of the halogens because of its lesser electronegativity. So for the reaction between the dihydrogen and the iodine, you are in need of a catalyst. The reaction takes place only in the presence of catalyst because the iodine is less reactive. So, understood the concept? Fluorine, the reaction between dihydrogen and fluorine is fast. It takes even in the dark, right? But if you take the iodine, the reaction is slow. It is in requirement of a catalyst. Are you getting? Now, so this is the reaction with halogens. We move on to the next one. That is reaction with dioxygen. Reaction with dioxygen. That is nothing but O2. Dioxygen means O2. So what it will form? You can guess the product. When dihydrogen is made to react with oxygen, right? So you are going to get what? H2O. H2O. Then I will take this one as 2H2. This will become O2, 2O, 2 to the 4, 2 to the 4. Okay, 2H2 plus O2 just to balance. So, whenever this dihydrogen is made to react with what? It is a gas. It is also a gas in the presence of a catalyst. If you heat this one, or if an electric arc is stuck between these two, what you are going to get? You are going to get water as the product, and this reaction is highly exothermic. That means to say 285.9 kilojoules per mole of energy is required. This reaction is exothermic. You know the meaning of exothermic? The reactions which proceed with the liberation of energy, with the liberation of heat energy, are called exothermic reactions. So then the preparation of water from the reaction between the hydrogen and oxygen is highly exothermic. So this is how the dihydrogen react with the dioxygen. One more important reaction this is, you already studied this one in the preparation. If you electrolyze water, you are going to get dihydrogen. But now if you are reacting dihydrogen with the oxygen, you are going to get a water as the product. Okay, so this is the reaction between chemical property, that is the preparation. Okay, next one if you have, that is the third one, reaction with dinitrogen. Reaction with dinitrogen. What is that dinitrogen? N2, nitrogen gas. Very important reaction it is. When nitrogen and hydrogen both are gaseous state, okay, when they are reacted, this reaction is a reversible reaction, at a temperature of 673 Kelvin and a pressure of 200 atmosphere, and in the presence of iron catalyst and molybdenum as a promoter. I will make you to understand which is the catalyst here. See this question, this is very important, this is especially for second PU students. You recall from or you by heart from today itself. No need to by heart, very easy, understood you will get, right? So this much carry 3 marks in second PUC. Yeah. Yes, what is the product you are going to get? 2NH3, ammonia. Manufacture of ammonia by Haber's process. There is a name for this reaction. This process is called as Haber's, Haber, first phase, Haber's process. Okay, so this reaction is also what exothermic. Here the energy release will be minus 92.6 kilojoules per mole. No need to say minus. Release means it is minus. Release means minus, negative, coming out, exo. Right? Endo means you have to write the sign as plus. But this reaction is an exothermic reaction. See how much marks this one carry? 3 marks there in second PUC. For you now is also important. Right? So very important when nitrogen reacts with dihydrogen at a temperature of 673 Kelvin and 200 atmosphere in the presence of iron catalyst and molybdenum as promoter. What is the meaning of this promoter? Catalyst is enough to increase the reaction. The activity of catalyst can be increased by using another substance that is called as promoter. Right? So catalyst alone will do the work, but still enhancing the activity of catalyst can be done by chemical substances called as the promoters. So which is acting as a promoter here? Molybdenum is acting as a promoter. Right? So what is the product you are going to get? Ammonia. What is the name of this reaction? Haber's process. Very important industrial method for the production of ammonia, because ammonia is very important chemical in the laboratory as well as in other fields. Right? So that is the reaction of that is what we can say dihydrogen with this one. Similarly, you can write reaction with sulfur also, that is H2 plus S gives rise to H2S, hydrogen sulfide, or you can write with the carbon also, that is also a non-metal, C plus H2, that will give rise to CH4, hydrocarbons you are going to get, like that. Any of the non-metal you can take. So it will react with the dihydrogen, because you know that dihydrogen in the beginning itself, it will combine with any of the compound except 0 group elements, it will combine with any of the elements. So that's why you are going to get variety of products here. And understood this one? So this is the this one, and then you can have one more important third one, that is reaction with metal ions and metal oxides. Excuse me, metal ions and metal oxides. So reaction of this dihydrogen with metal ions and metal oxides. So what it will do here is, so this dihydrogen acts as a reducing agent. In the beginning itself, you know, it acts as a very good reducing agent. What it will do? It reduces the metal ions into metals and metal oxide to metal, respective metals. It is converting both the metal ions as well as metal oxides into their respective metals. That's why it is a reducing agent. So to show that dihydrogen is a very good reducing agent, you can write this chemical property. So what it will do here, it reduces the metal ions and metal oxides to their respective metals. You know the meaning of reducing agents again. It will get oxidized itself and reduces others. That means to say it removes the oxygen from others. Okay, if there is no oxygen, it will add up the electron. That is also the property of reducing agent. You are going to learn in case of redox reactions. Very important concept there. So now I will write that reaction. Let me write here the third property, that is reaction with with metal ions and metal oxides. For metal metal ion I can write. So if dihydrogen is made to react with palladium, Pd2 plus, it is nothing but the palladium, that is nothing but a metal ion. So it will be get reduced to metal, that is nothing but the solid. It is aqueous if you take. So what happens to the hydrogen? It will get oxidized. It will get oxidized. Are you getting the concept? What is the meaning of reducing agent? Very simple. It gets oxidized by loss of electron and it reduces this one. Reduce means what? You have to remove the charge. Ion will convert it into its metal. Ion is converting into metal. How to convert an ion to a metal atom? 2 plus means we have to remove that 2 plus. What is that? How we can remove? By adding 2 electrons. From where the 2 electrons will come? Our hydrogen. H2 means how many electrons are there? 2. It will donate its 2 electron to this one. That is one more definition for reducing agent. It is losing the electron. Okay, it is gaining the electron to become the metal. Is that clear? Or simply hydrogen reduces the metal ion to its metal and itself get what? Oxidized. Itself get oxidized. That is the definition. Reducing agent andre enu? Taanu oxidize agi innondanna reduce ಮಾಡೋದು. ತಾನು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ ಆಗೋದಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಸೊ ತನ್ನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಅಂತ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನು ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅರ್ಥ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ದಟ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ತಾನು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನು ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದರ ಉಲ್ಟ, ತಾನು ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್. ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ಹಿಯರ್ hydrogen reduces the metal ions to its metal. Similarly, metal oxides H2 plus Fe2O3. This reaction also we discuss. Fe2O3. Okay, or you can take Fe3O4. This reaction I think I discussed. So plus 4H2, it will form into 3Fe plus 4H2O. So here there is a story of electrons. It is losing electron, it is gaining electron. This is reducing, this is oxidizing. Okay, here in this case there will be no electronic case. There is a oxygen. Another definition of reducing and oxidizing. What is the reducing agent mean? It will extract the oxygen from this one. Right? It will extract the oxygen and become water. What it will make to this one? The metal oxide has been converted into a respective metal. The very important, very simple concept here. So dihydrogen converts the metal ions and metal oxide to their respective metals. That is the one more important property of our what? Dihydrogen. That is the chemical property. That is very important chemical property. So these are the different inorganic reactions. Let me move on to the one or two remaining. Organic reactions, if you take very important reaction with organic compounds. Reaction with organic compounds. Okay na? So first one is nothing but that is hydrogenation of oil. Hydrogenation of oil. I think you are very familiar with this one. Okay, that is conversion of oil to fat. That fat may be vanaspati or ghee, you can say vanaspati or ghee, right? So this reaction takes place in the presence of a catalyst, that is nothing but nickel catalyst at a temperature of 250 degrees Celsius. 250 degrees Celsius. So the nickel will be that is oil will be converted into a fat. You know that oils are liquid in nature, fat is solid in nature. Oils are liquid because of the presence of double bonds or triple bonds. Okay, how double bond will be converted into single bond? Because fat is saturated, it is having single bonds. How to convert? Just by the addition of hydrogen. From where that hydrogen will come? From this one. Nickel, on the surface of the nickel, hydrogen will be there. So you can write this one, H2 bar N2. So if it is a nickel, no, on the surface of nickel, pores are there, in that hydrogen is there. So if you add oil to this one, what you are going to get? You are going to get the fat. Oil, fat. It takes place at a temperature of 250 degrees Celsius, nearly 250 degrees Celsius. Right? So that is hydrogenation of oil. Hydrogenation means what? Addition of hydrogen. Addition of hydrogen to the oil to convert into a fat. Okay. So similarly, one more reaction is there, the last one. So that is hydroformylation. In case of organic chemistry only, hydroformylation. Hydroformylation. Okay, na? So what is this hydroformylation? So if you take an alkene, like example R CH double bond CH2, and if you make to react with a mixture of carbon monoxide and dihydrogen, that is hydroformylation. So you are going to get an aldehyde. What is the functional group of aldehyde? CHO. How that is? R CH2. Okay, and one more, that is CHO. Simple reaction, it is understood. R, this hydrogen is there, no? It will be added to this carbon atom. It will become CH2. The double bond will become single bond. CH2 again. What will left here? One hydrogen and CO. That will become CHO. What is this? This is an aldehyde. Okay, alkenes or olefins, you can say. Alkenes are converted to aldehydes. So if you continue the reaction further, that is that aldehyde RCH2 CHO plus, if you subject it for reduction or if you subject for hydrogenation, so it will be converted into an alcohol, or CH2 it will become CH2, then finally OH. CH2 OH. So you know that functional group of alcohols is OH. What is the compound you are going to get at the end? Alcohol. This is how this reaction is called as hydroformylation. So this is one more chemical property of what? Our dihydrogen in case of organic chemistry. How organic compounds can be prepared by using dihydrogen. So one is the hydrogenation of oil, where we are going to convert oil into a fat by the addition of hydrogen in the presence of nickel catalyst. And one more is hydroformylation, where when an alkene is had to react with a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen, it will be converted into an aldehyde, which upon further reduction, addition of hydrogen is also called as a reduction. So it will be converted into an alcohol. You remember this one. Aldehydes on reduction gives alcohols. Alcohols on oxidation gives aldehydes. That is a story. Very beautiful that concept is you are going to learn in organic chemistry. So we can convert alcohol to aldehyde, aldehyde to carboxylic acid. That is called as oxidation. You can do the reverse also. Carboxylic acid to aldehyde, aldehyde to alcohol. Reduction it is. Because you are removing hydrogen. You are removing oxygen and adding the hydrogen. So if you go like this, that is what? Alcohol, aldehyde, carboxylic acid, it is oxidation. If you go like this, carboxylic acid, aldehyde and alcohol, that is reduction. Here you make out the reduction only. Aldehyde to alcohol is a reduction. So these are all the different chemical properties of what? Our hydrogen. So just to summarize, we react with the metals to form metallic hydrides, and then it will react with the non-metals like oxygen, it will form water. With nitrogen, it will form ammonia, very important, Haber's process. With halogen, it will form metallic halides, that is HX, or hydrogen halides, HX. Reaction with fluorine is fast, reaction with iodine is slow, required the catalyst. Then we discuss here reaction of dihydrogen with metal ions and metal oxide. There they are converted into respective metals. And finally, reaction of dihydrogen with the organic compounds, that is hydrogenation oil and hydroformylation. At the end, we are having the uses of dihydrogen. So that we are going to discuss in the next class.